Nothing is more relaxing than literally ranking every single room in the entire game. I'm doing this by myself. In the past, we've had some wonderful guests like Shagraz and Gelly, but I figure this stream is just going to take way too long if I'm going back and forth on absolutely every single room. But the flip side is we've got chat today, right? Which can be really fun and helpful. So I figure I can at least get some ideas from you guys if a take is just too bad or too awful. So before we start, there is something I have to say. We are considering the strongest version of each room, okay? We're considering the strongest version, and by that I mean we're not gonna look at unupgraded rooms. We're gonna assume that rooms with gem costs are axed. And the reason why is I think this is just the only way that you can properly gauge the power, at least as best as you can. So we're gonna start off real easy, okay? Starfish Aquarium, that is an S tier room. And you can see that I've got this setup here, right? We're considering the cost, the rewards, the paths, and the access. First of all, Aquarium, as we all know, has infinite ways to synergize, right? It works with just about every lab experiment. In fact, it can be spammed itself, which is why I think Starfish Aquarium is the best of the aquariums. This is the one that is the most interesting stuff, because unlike the gold coins for the goldfish, where like it's not permanent and you're maybe not that excited to just spam a bunch of coins, stars are permanent, and they are arguably the single best resource in the entire game. So Starfish Aquarium is the reason why you even want to have that lab experiment that's adding extra aquariums in your deck. Again, it's got synergies with a million things. It synergizes with itself, adding stars so effortlessly, as well as giving you items, dig spots. It's a fantastic room. Electric Eel Aquarium, I think is pretty interesting too. It's not even close to the power of Starfish, in my opinion, which was really interesting. If you guys have been following the YouTube posts, I've been polling the general audience and their opinions, and Electric Eel was like, if I recall correctly, I think Electric Eel was like far and away the most popular aquarium, which really makes me scratch my head. I do understand that, like, for a lot of earlier game Blueprints players, they just want to power up that laboratory ASAP, and they're annoyed with Boiler Room. They might not even know that you can chain power, whatever, right? So I know that is like something to think about. And for what it's worth, adding the gear mechanical room subtype is relevant. Using a wrench can make it really easy to set your aquarium to common. It makes your mechanarium just a little bit better. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. I would honestly, I'd probably put it in C if I'm being really honest with you. Maybe B tier. Let's see how the rest of this progresses, because we know that even baseline aquarium is pretty good. But I think that, like, at the end of the day, this is just getting outclassed by Starfish in almost every playthrough. This is my opinion. Okay, Archives. I think Archives is a B tier room, okay? I almost want to put it at A. I think that people hate on Archives a little too much. It's easy to compare it to Weight Room, and Weight Room is way more manageable, plus it gives you a lever, right? So it's just not even close to the Weight Room in my opinion. It is worse. But it is 0 gems. It is always relevant, early game, middle game, maybe a little less so late game, but it can help you get lab experiments. That is a trigger that can work. You're probably gonna ruin your day. You're probably not gonna get your day very far, but you can trigger a ton of times off of the archived lab experiment option, which I think is cool. And there are even some items too. You can get some items from the archives as well. Not like super frequently, but it is possible. I think it's B, right? I don't think it's worse than that. I could see a world where it's A tier, but I think that Archives is actually a lot better than people might expect. Like, Passageway also has 4 paths. It also has power ducts. Passageway, you're never getting items, but in exchange, it also costs 2 gems, which is an interesting comparison. And I think I like Archives more than Passageway, so take that for what it's worth. The Armory is really, really cool. This room is only accessible with that night chest power, which means that when you're done with this room, you can just take it out of your pool completely. Like, it won't even be there to be an annoying thing. It doesn't cost a gem, which is pretty rare for a shop. It's a black print, which is kind of, there's not a lot of like black print synergies, but that is kind of interesting and cool. It has possibly the best item in the entire game, the axe. 3 uses to permanently reduce your gem cost. That's pretty massive. I think that's, and then even like your torch, right? Like, even, what's the word? Even like your torch, your morning star, the night shield, a lot of good items here. I think I'm putting it in S for the 2 reasons of Axe, which is arguably the best reward in the game because it's permanent and has long-lasting repercussions, and because you can get rid of it at any time. And it is also really nice to not have to like make the burning glass. You don't have to actually make the burning glass when you have this around. And just to clarify earlier, I know I see a comment asking about why comparing archives to passageway. I just mean in general, right? We haven't talked about passageway yet. I just mean like generally speaking. And I know that's gonna be tough. This is obviously a very difficult tier list to do. So anyway, I think Armory goes in S. I could see A. Let's see how the rest of this goes. I'm certainly down to tweak things and twist things, but I think the fact of the matter is Axe is phenomenal. You can get rid of it, whatever. I've said what I have to say. Attic is really cool. Normally costs you 3 gems. Again, we're gonna assume that it's axed. And actually Attic, I think, is one of the better axe uses in the game, to be frank with you. 8 items is insane, right? And true, most of these are gonna be like keys and gems. Sometimes you get a single coin. That kind of stinks as one of your item slots, but very powerful, extremely powerful stuff. I think that Attic is an A tier room. I think that it's not quite at the level of some of the other rooms in the game that we're going to talk about, but 8 items is jaw-dropping. Even if you get some dud items, this is going to help you easily assemble contraptions. It might help you get special keys that you need for the rest of your day. It's a dead end. That's not great, but again, having 8 items, even in a world where you're paying for 3 gems, it's really great. And in this world, I think it's even better too. Great stuff. Okay, ballroom. I owe everybody an apology. In fact, I think of all the shorts that I would ever redo in blueprints that I make on YouTube, ballroom is probably like the only one that I feel strongly enough that I need to redo. Okay, ballroom sucks. It's a C tier room, possibly D. I think I can be nice enough to give it C, but the thing is, ballroom needs so many things to work. Ballroom needs so many things to work, okay? You need to have like enough gems in your inventory at that moment for it to be interesting. So 4 gems or lower, right? If you have more than 4 gems, you're instantly losing gems, which is hysterical. True, you can get a lot of converting steps to gems is like really good in theory, but it also does lock you out of some of the 3 gem cost rooms, which can really stink. Like you're never gonna see your attic. It has like anti-synergy with parlor room and stuff like that you might get later on in the day. Yeah, it is so hard to make work. If ballroom, if it cost you like 1 less gem, if it were a 1 gem cost room instead of 2, I could see it being a little bit better. Probably, maybe it's too good. I don't know. It's a weird room. And just as a future apology, I really had the power level of this room wrong, because as a fun fact for you guys, I was a playtester, and this effect of hovel, converting your steps, converting gem cost rooms into steps, that used to be what ballroom was, which was obviously very good. I'm a hovel fan. I know some people don't like hovel. So anyway, I had the power level of that down wrong. I didn't have as much experience with it. I could even see ballroom being D, honestly. It's like magical Christmas land actually making it do anything. Yeah. And again, the only reason for me, Electric Eel Aquarium at C, is just because I think that Starfish just outclasses it. It's true that even Baseline Aquarium is a pretty good room. Bedroom, C tier, okay? It falls off in power. I don't think the bedroom is ever really that great. The best use for bedroom, like the times that I'm most excited about it, is when you've got nursery and you're doing like day 1 runs and like you need a bedroom that continues. That's probably the most exciting thing about bedroom. Bedroom is very good in day 1, but let's be real, this room very much falls off in power. Okay, now we've got billiard rooms, which is really interesting. Break room, insanely good. This is an S tier room for sure. Break room is gonna give you easy access to the card key. And it's true that you can always use security room plus utility closet to replicate a card key, but this is so much easier. It saves you way more time. You can basically always start your day off with the card key, which is insanely good. And then like, yeah, 2 keys as well. Sure, maybe late game, the billiard room puzzles are not worth solving, but even in a world where break room got rid of the 2 keys and just gave you basically infinite uses of a card key throughout the rest of your playthrough, I still think that would be an S tier room. So the fact that you can get 2 keys is just really icing on the cake. I actually think Speakeasy is a lot better than people give it credit for. Ain't nobody got time for ridiculous math. It's also good for speedrun uses and challenge purposes. We're gonna give it a B tier. I think I can't really see it going up to A, and I don't think it's as bad as C. I do think Speakeasy is better than you think it is. And Pool Hall, I'm gonna put down here. When I say bad and weak, I'm definitely putting like the really bad upgrades in my opinion, or the ones that are always outclassed down here. I don't know. I don't think that adding the orange subtype, adding hallway is a really exciting archetype. I don't think that's really adding much to it. Maybe you care about drafting rooms or making your classroom a little bit better, but that's not really that exciting either. I don't know. I don't think pool hall is great, especially when you consider what you're giving up here. Break room is just like one of the best rooms in the entire game. Okay, so boiler room. This room is really hard to gauge, right? Obviously, powering up is really good. Early game, probably even like mid game. I don't think late game it matters that much. Yes, you can power up your laundry room, which is really cool. That's probably like the best late game use of powering, but I don't know. I don't think that's, I don't know. It, like, in the worst case scenario, I think it's B tier. I think in the worst case scenario, it's just like a T-shaped room, which is nice. It's got like a dig spot. Power can be cool. I just think that power is one of those things that you really care about at first, and then you just like never stop caring about ever again. So that's my take there. I could see a world where boiler room is A, maybe, I don't know. It's hard because like, if you think about all the things that it unlocks over the course of the game, like your garage, which gives you your outer rooms, getting your Blackbridge grotto, like it's pretty important. Maybe if you also really care about connecting your ducts, if you're like, you really want a red room day, I don't know. I think boiler room is a B tier room. Bookshop, let's be nice and put it in C. Obviously, it has books that are very important. It can only be drafted from library, which is actually a kind of an upside in my opinion, because it means it's not normally crowding up your pool. You're not going to be seeing it all that often. The thing is, bookshop, just once you buy it out, it's nothing, right? It's absolutely nothing. It'd be really cool if you could buy a magnifying glass or like a hall pass in here. I actually think that would be a really fun tweak. Hall pass and magnifying glass, because hall pass I think is also just it's a little too rare for it to be like a fun and cool item, and there's not enough ways to preserve items like all throughout the game. But yeah, I think bookshop just like easily falls off in value. You buy it all, then you're done with it forever. And I think what saves it from D tier is the fact that it's like not clogging up your pool every day. Okay, now we've got the boudoirs, and the boudoirs are really interesting. I think that is an easy S tier room. The +2 dice boudoir, because you're also considering that you get a gem. 2 dice, as we know, any way to mitigate RNG is going to be phenomenal. It's a bedroom that continues. That's pretty rare. So your nursery gets a little bit better. Obviously, sleeping mask is nice. And you can actually find items like sleeping mask in here pretty rarely. Boudoir is just insanely good. I am also an Apple fan. I think it's a lot better than people think it is. I might even put it in A tier. And the reason why is it's for a few reasons, right? One, obviously, you can buff your apples with Observatory. So you can, even with one buff, you can get 15 steps out of this, which is pretty nice. If you buff it twice for 8 + 8 steps, that's pretty good. It's got synergy. I mean, salt shaker is not really anything to talk about, but there are some nice things there. It does trigger lab experiments really easily, which is not nothing. And honestly, you can reach a point in like mid game to late game where you farmed so many stars that like rerolls don't really matter as much to you anymore. And so it's just nice to have like easy steps, right? It's nice to not like have to worry about drafting a nursery every day or really throwing out your guest bedroom and things like that. I think it's better than people think it is. Maybe it's B tier because +2 dice is almost always going to be better, but I think this is a lot better than people do think it is. And then +1 gem, I mean, it's fine. I just think it's boring. I don't know. I think both of these are a lot better than 1 gem, in my opinion. I think they're both a lot better. I think that only one bunk room really matters, and I don't think it even matters that much. I think it's a C tier room. The only upgrade, in my opinion, is having exactly 2 shops and doubling your coins. And the reason why that is a thing is because shops are rare enough that you're not going to have a ton of them. Coins are plentiful enough that doubling them is relevant, right? Like the green room, having 2 green rooms doubling your gems, it's like a nightmare to actually assemble that. And then what are you doing? You're like doubling 1 gem to 2, or like 2 gems. I mean, 2 gems to 4 is actually pretty nice, but still, right? That's not really a thing. Hallways are, but you could maybe do hallways, but again, like how often are you farming keys like that easily? I don't know. I don't think any of the bunk rooms are that great. I think even at its full power, it's a C tier room. Bunk room having 2 items is cool. The double key is cool. Double gem is cool. Sometimes you can get double lock chest, but yeah, I just don't think the bunk room is that exciting at the end of the day. So yeah, we'll throw it there. Casino, really cool room. This room, just giving you +20 coins and costing 2 gems normally is just, I just think that's better than Vault, like full stop. Plus it's got a pathway, plus it's a shop. It's got some gold room synergies. Casino is funny because the slot machine game is actually not as much luck as you think it is. It's a lot more skill. And so if you have a broken lever, and actually I think even without a broken lever, if you just have all the time in the world, you can have all the coins that you want in that day, which is very, very funny, just converting real world time into nearly infinite gold. The roulette is really fun. You can get allowance out of it, which is a permanent upgrade. It continues, which is cool. Casino is fun because there ends up being a lot of ways later in the game to have a ridiculous amount of money. But casino is a fast way to have a lot of money. It's definitely the fastest way, in my opinion, to get a ton of money. I think, I don't know. I think it falls off for sure. It falls off for sure, which is why I think it's B tier. I could see A. I could see A for casino. You don't often get a permanent reward. Coins for sure do fall off, but it's nice to be a shop that continues. I don't know. I could see a world where it's a little bit better, but I'm going to keep it at B for now. I'm going to keep it for B. And I agree with Wally Walk. It's not in the same tier as Attic and Boudoir. I agree. Okay. Chamber of Mirrors is so funny. And I have a hard time ranking this, and I would love to get the opinions of chat on this because, like, most days, I don't really like to see Chamber of Mirrors. I'm like, it's basically just a dead end that makes your drafting pool for the day really awful. However, the reward of adding extra copies of rooms is insanely good. A second observatory is like jaw-droppingly good. Second den, third den, right? There are such good things that you can get from the Chamber of Mirrors. And you can always, you don't have to pick the weird rooms to add doubles of. You don't need to add a double wine cellar. You could if you really wanted, but you don't need to. You don't need a double gym. It's just, it's weird because it's like, it's kind of janky. But if you consider the ultimate reward of adding certain rooms permanently in your deck, it's very strong. It's very, very strong. I think it's like top of B tier. It feels weird to give it A. I mean, you could, I don't know. And actually I see some good comments from the chat as well. You have to be careful what you add because there's no way to remove them when you're done. Chamber of Mirrors was a fun puzzle to solve once. That's hysterical. Yes, I agree. They make you work for the permanent rooms. But I want to be very clear that, like, adding a second observatory, adding a second den, like, there are very, very, very good stuff. But yeah, I think it doesn't seem like too many people are disagreeing with me here. I think top of B tier is probably like where it belongs. Chapel, it's basically hallway, right? Like, I think even in the early days of playing Blueprints, you can really play around the coin downside. It's often you don't have any coins when you draft your chapel. Sometimes it has coins in it. Then you have the piggy bank. Honestly, I don't think you ever really need to shadow the piggy bank, but like, it's fun that it's there. It's a cute little thing. Maybe if you like didn't know about your trophy of wealth and you're like, what the heck? I want to get this trophy and be done with. I guess you could shadow your piggy bank, which is cool. I don't know. I think like all of the free T-shaped rooms are going to be B tier rooms at the end of the day. I think that's how it is. You could maybe A tier for the piggy bank, but I don't know. I will say that being a red room can be helpful. You've got like your paper crown synergies. There's like funeral parlor if you're into that sort of thing. I certainly am. It's pretty cool. And the fact that even early game it costs you no gems is really nice. But yeah, let's call it, I think it's actually a pretty solid room. And I think B is good for it. Classroom. Even the single classroom is not bad. Costing a gem kind of stinks normally. Again, in this world, we're assuming it's axed, which actually, classroom's not a bad axe, because if you have your schoolhouse, every single classroom becomes free once you axe one of your classrooms, and you just get like reroll city, right? Like you can build almost any day that you want. I do think that hoarding stars is generally a better strategy at the end of the day, and I think there are stronger outer rooms than schoolhouse even than that, but you could definitely axe your classroom. I think it's fun. It's very spammable. It's cool that it cares about drafting rooms. That's like a pretty rare thing. I think it's better than C tier because it's just a weaker drawing room, and we all know the drawing room is pretty great, right? I don't know. I think that you consider classroom, the single classroom as well as the spammed classroom together. Yeah, but I see what you mean, because yeah, a spammable classroom is going to be like A tier as opposed to like B tier, but yeah, I think that's fine though. At the very least, it's going to give you one reroll. It's very likely it's going to give you 2 or 3. That's pretty cool. It's got an apple in there just about always. In fact, I think it is always. Sometimes another extra item too. And I think that this being a great way to get rerolls in the game, like an easy one to do it, is cool. So anyway, Clock Tower, really interesting room. It's important, right? You need it for your sanctum key, so you can't really, you need it in just about every playthrough. Being a tomorrow room is interesting. It's hard to rate tomorrow rooms, right? Because you are giving up like your immediate potential for future potential. I'm a fan of tomorrow rooms. I could see, I know that there are tomorrow room haters out there, but I think that they're actually all pretty decent. And it's fun to feel like what you're doing today matters in the next day. Getting a bunch of keys is cool. Being a dead end, not so cool. I don't know. The fact that you can get your stopwatch is extremely fun. And I think like the thrill of a stopwatch at the top of the clock tower is one of the funniest moments in all of Blueprints. That's like a top tier moment. I don't know. Is it C or B? Is clock tower C or B? I think keys are relevant. Tomorrow rooms are interesting. I don't know. That's really tough. If you were guaranteed stopwatch, I think it would be really high. Let's put it in C for now, and let's see how we feel. Let's throw it in C for now. Okay, we've got a million cloisters, which is always fun. I think we can all agree Cloister of Draxus is an S tier room. I know that we're assuming our cloisters are axed, but this saves you an axe in this world, so that's really cool. Cloister of Draxus not only gives you a million dice, but you can actually break out of it with your secret passage, which is phenomenal. And again, it's just a really cool, fun room, I think, in general. I'm very jealous of people who have Cloister of Draxus in their playthrough. I think that most of these cloisters are pretty similar in power level. Like, Cloister of Orinda I'm throwing down here just because I think every other cloister is better than it. I really wish the Cloister of Orinda lost the gem cost. Because, like, I get that Cloister of Draxus seems like a dead end, and that red rooms just inherently don't have gem costs unless you're Aquarium. But, like, this is just worse than Cloister of Draxus, so I think it's pretty bad. I think that most of these are pretty similar in power level. Cloister's a cool room because you can spike it for free with your secret passage. It's a 4-way room, it's green room synergies. I think they're pretty much all A-tier rooms. I don't know that they're that much better than anyone else. Does anyone have any thoughts on that? I think you never pick Orinda. I think all of these are like, I don't know that it's worth bending your back to figure out like which of these is the best one. Getting allowance tokens is cool. Getting stars is really cool. That's probably my favorite of these. You guys know I'm a star fan. The luck is cool. Raising luck is really cool. I mean, these are impossible to read anyway. The bedroom one is really interesting. That's how you can get like your bunk bed to give you, your bunk room to give you double vault keys and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think, again, there's a world where you can split hairs. And we have an upgrade tier list that you could watch if you want to like really see the full breakdown. But I think they're all pretty solid. Especially if they don't cost any gems. Closed exhibit is really interesting. Closed exhibit is really interesting. It's kind of free, right? It's kind of like vestibule. Like I did a short recently where I said vestibule is basically 4 unlocked doors. It costs you like 2 steps to reroll the one that you really want to get. It's basically 4 unlocked doors. Closed exhibit is basically like 1 less door. And the fact that if you have break room, which you should hopefully have break room, it's just totally free. It's a rare red room that doesn't really have a downside. So you can buff up your funeral parlor. It gives you the paper crown, which is a phenomenal item. Really underrated item, to be honest with you. I think closed exhibit's A. I think it's A. Maybe not like the highest of A, but paper crown plus, it could be B still. It could be B still. And it's true that you can get lab experiment triggers, which is cool. That's a really good point. Security doors is like one of the better lab experiment options anyway. Yeah, I think a low A for closed exhibit is pretty cool. Yes. Oh yeah, and lockpick kits. That's true. Lockpick kits. I completely forgot about that. Really good point. All right, closet's funny because closet is normally like a whatever item. Let's be real, bedroom closet, you just shouldn't pick it. There's not enough bedrooms that continue to ever be worth it. If it were rare items, we've talked about this before. If it were the pool of items from the bedroom, I think it's Mila, right? The bedroom item. If it were that same pool, that'd be really interesting, but it's not. So pretty bad. I think hallway closet, let's throw them both in B tier. I actually, look, I think empty closet, it's possibly C. I know that as its fans, and I'm a fan, so I do love red rooms. I don't know. I just think that hallway closet is way safer, and most players should probably pick that, right? Like you should probably pick hallway closet because the opportunity cost of like 0 items as your baseline is pretty bad. But you know, red rooms do have a lot of paths, so it's not that tough to do it. I could see C, but I know there's a lot of empty closet lovers out there, and red rooms are a really fun strategy to get in there. So for what it's worth, I think it's a really cool room. We'll put them together. Coat check. Honestly, it's probably S tier. It's like, you know, it's probably, maybe there's a case for coat check in A tier, but it's like whatever busted item you have, you're getting it every day, right? Like coat check could mean infinite keys. Coat check could mean infinite gems. It could mean a ton of rerolls. It's very good. It's very, very good. I could see an argument for A tier, but it's so rare to actually preserve your items in this game that like, I think you just have to give coat check that buff there. It's just too good. Commissary is a fascinating room because once you have a massive allowance, it's kind of bonkers. But I would feel weird putting it in S tier. I think it's A. I think it's like top of A. I don't know. Commissary is really interesting. Because like you get to a point where it's like, commissary is like plus 8 gems, plus a shovel. Sometimes like the worst commissary room is what, Salt Shaker Days, and that's not even that bad. I think it's just too good late game to pass up. Commissary is normally B tier, and I would agree with that. Special request is true. You can guarantee the things you want. Plus 8 gems, that's basically like freaking trophy room, and you don't have to axe it either. So yeah, it's quite good. I think it's quite good. So for what it's worth, yeah, maybe behind attic, I don't know, but it's a great room. It's a great room that keeps getting better. Conference room. I think late game it falls off in power. I want to give it S tier because of its relevance early mid game. What do you guys think? I'm curious what you guys think. It's rare to have like a totally free T-shaped room with an upside. The upside's not always relevant. The upside is not always relevant, but like when it is relevant, it's game changing. And for what it's worth, as a day one player and a challenge run player, I have a lot of respect for conference room. So how about like bottom of S tier? How about bottom of S tier? I do think it falls off. But it's just, there's just so many game modes where it's really helpful. Yeah, I think bottom of S is fine. I think it's fine. That's where I'm at. Okay, Conservatory, arguably best room in the entire game. What more can you say? This is playthrough defining, right? This is how you get all your busted stuff to be common. It only costs you 1 gem normally. You would never axe this. It's also a drafting room for like random classroom synergies. Sometimes you find an item in here. I think there's even dig spots sometimes. It's a green room, right? You can spread gems with your patio in here. Green room synergies are insane. So yeah, I think Conservatory is strong case for best room in the entire game. Easy S tier. Corridor, let's put it C for corridor. Our poor boy, you know, straight paths just aren't really that great. Like they're not so common in general. Maybe it saves you a key, but it's so common. Yeah, I don't think we need to talk too much about corridor. Very good to put it there. Courtyard is insane. I think that +2 gem courtyard is one of the best rooms in the game as well. You've got +2 gems. It's very spammable. It's extremely spammable with the courtyard blessing, which is really cool. That's why I think this might be the best one. Honestly, I think all of them are really relevant. I think dig spots is probably behind it. I'm less of a fan of shovel stuff. I'm less of a fan. I think the ceiling is a little higher at the cost of you giving up a lot of stuff there. Courtyard, man, I want to like it more than I do. I think Courtyard is probably a B. I think it's a little worse. It's not as spammable. It also has anti-foyer synergy, which is funny. It's already unlocked. So yeah, for what that's worth, that's pretty funny. Okay, so dark room, bad room. Let's put it C. I used to really like this room a lot more than I should. It's true that if you go early game with your dark room, you don't really care as much what you end up drafting, but you basically always draft Furnace or Archives or something really silly and dumb, which is hysterical. And then like, it just takes so many steps to backtrack Utility Closet. The real nail in the coffin is that you can't preemptively turn on the dark room, which will forever bug me. I think that's very annoying. Yeah, I think dark room, pretty C. It could even see a world where it's D tier. Den is S. Okay, even in a world where it's competing with the heavy hitters that are axed and whatever, it is always relevant at every single point of the game. It's helpful, it's useful, it's common, it gives you a gem. You can spam it with your Chamber of Mirrors. Yeah, fantastic room, always good. Same is true of dining room. Pretty similar to Den, but like you get food, which is also nice. This is just better than most bedrooms. And in late game, when you have the lunchbox to buff it even further, you are talking about some really great power. So yeah, dining room, phenomenal. It honestly probably should cost a gem, and the fact that it doesn't is just beautiful. I think dormitory is a C tier room. I think it's very similar to bunk room. The item is a little bit better. You have potential to get multiple steps out of it, but then you have to backtrack to the rooms. I don't know. I think it's a weird one. I think if it could refund you the amount of steps that you take to walk there, I don't even know how you would program that or make that clean. So yeah, I think it's whatever. In fact, I think dormitory is the kind of room that like, you don't even need to add your drafting studio. You should for the trophy, you should for the drafting book that's in it, but if you already know everything, I don't even really think you need it. Yeah. On the other hand though, you've got Dovecote. And this is, I don't know if this is a hot take or a weird take, but in the case of Dovecote, I think it's S only because like, it's always gonna be helpful for you. You don't even have to draft the room itself. Like, it's pretty helpful and it gets that going. I don't know, maybe it's A. Rotating is really nice. Yeah, maybe it might actually be more like an A tier room, to be honest with you. Because even though it's a totally free buff, it's not like it's that common that you see it all the time. I guess it'd be really fantastic if you could make it common with your conservatory. Yeah, it's probably more like A, but like a pretty high A tier. We'll tweak it later, but I think it's a pretty good room. Drafting studio is so weird. It falls off. It falls off. And honestly, most of the rooms that you add aren't like so game-breakingly busted. Like, obviously Clock Tower gives you a Sanctum key. We've hyped up Casino as a pretty cool room. Candle is cool. There are some cool rooms you get. I think overall it's C tier though, mostly because it falls off. And I don't know. I could see B. I could see B for drafting studio. But we'll put that on. We'll put a pin in that one. We'll put a pin in that one. Drawing room, very good room. Probably S tier. Maybe very high A. This is another room that's basically free because you get your gem, you have your gem rebates. So it's essentially free. And then rerolls and the fact that it's a drafting compass for some extra synergies. I think altogether just like really good room. So I think that is probably a good spot for it. Really good early game and it's still useful in the mid to late game too. So that's what I think. East Wing Hall, it's a hallway. It's a free hallway. You're never really going to get it in a great spot, but I think that's a B tier room. Foundation is really hard to rank. A late rank foundation is insanely good. You can basically use it as a second entrance hall, provided that you have a key card that you can go down below and access from the basement. You could have a world where you fully draft like 5 to 6 ranks and you have a dead end. Like you just can't continue, or you even draft purposefully knowing that you can just like hop out through your foundation and continue drafting. It's really strong, really cool. It's also reliable. It's got some dig spots in there. It's basically free. And in fact, it's even better in the later ranks because the doors that it would have would normally be locked, right? So you can form some easy pathways to connect to it and save yourself some keys. Yeah, I think it's S. We're probably gonna have too many S tier rooms, to be honest, but we'll continue. Foyer, really good room. That's either bottom of A, top of B. Let's put it in A tier. I think Foyer is good enough, strong enough. It's got amazing Great Hall synergies. Vestibule is cool, although Vestibule's already free. Makes your aquariums unlocked. I don't know, it's a cool room. Maybe B tier. This is not really a room that you would want to use your axe on. It's possibly like high, like the top of B tier. Let's throw it there for now. Let's throw it like right over here for now, and then maybe we'll come back to it. I think Freezer is pretty good. Freezer is an interesting room because you're never going to draft it until you need it. You are never ever, and in fact, Freezer can make a lot of dead rooms very strong. It's a fun room to chain with your Blessing of the Monk. That's like a pretty easy way to buy your blue tents, which I think is kind of notable and interesting. It is a dead end, but again, you're really just drafting this like when your day is done, you have two other options, right? So like you're basically never ever going to draft it until you actually want to do it. I do think it falls off. Gems and coins don't get as exciting, but for what it's worth, I think there's a lot of cool stuff to it. Is it like high B, low A? Let's put it B. Let's put it like decent B tier. Let's put it decent B tier. Furnace, look, there are cool things you can do with it. I actually just recorded a short about it. There are cool things you can do with Furnace, but I don't think any of them really are powerful enough or notable enough to care about. So we'll throw it there. Gallery. That is an actual S tier room. Like I'm out here hemming and hawing about Foundation. This is a pretty high one in my opinion too. It's a very good room. I don't know exactly where I'd put it. Gallery is insanely good though. Look, it continues. It's not a dead end. You get 2 gems, coins, and the key is really relevant too. That it, like roommate is basically just a total bonus. In fact, I'm going to throw it with the gallery because you're always getting them together. They're basically together. They're combined into one room because you're never going to draft it unless you need to. And honestly, even though it has the downside of only being usable in rank 8, that's a rank that you would be using keys on anyway, and you get allowance out of it. So yeah, just the combined package of gallery and roommate is phenomenal in my opinion. Garage is good. Garage is really good. And honestly, if you factor in the fact that it gives you the outside areas, I might even put it like the highest parts of B tier. It is very strong. I think 1 gem for 3 keys is always useful. It's always relevant. It's a quote unquote dead end, but you can go outside. It's got dig spots sometimes. Sometimes it has items. You can use your card keys in there. I think garage is really solid. Great Hall is really interesting. Great Hall, in theory, the room is extremely powerful, right? It's 4 paths. You've got 2 doors that have resources in it. You've got an antechamber lever. So if you have foyer, it's jaw-droppingly strong. Lockpick also makes Great Hall extremely powerful. The thing is, keys are always really important. There's never really a point where keys stop mattering unless you like, I don't know, you have a master key. That's like your coat check item that you keep with you. It's just always good. Yeah, it's right there with foyer. They're a combo together. There's no doubt about it. Could even see a world where Great Hall's a little better because having an antechamber lever and having the extra resources is really nice. We'll put a pin on that as well. Man, greenhouse. I have a really hard time ranking the greenhouse. I think it's better than I think it is, right? It's a drafting room. It's got the path once you smash it open. It's got good items, right? Watering can is solid. Shovel is probably like the worst item you can get in here. It's still a good item. Making green rooms more common. Not like the most exciting effect, but it can be. It's got an antechamber lever. I don't know. I think it's like low A. I think it ends up being like a low A tier room. There's gem flowers, right? If you water it with the pump room. Yeah, a lot of good stuff there. The guest bedrooms are pretty interesting. I think guest bedroom is the worst. First of all, poor PS4 or PS5 players have all of these, they have all of these issues. Oh, and Sasha, nice to see you. And hello, I'm sorry, Funny Chair, nice to see you too. I'm sorry, I'm trying to move on. My poor YouTube, I feel so bad for YouTube. Great to see lovely Sasha. Yeah, guest bedroom is it's just too janky, I think. And the fact that you can get like Maid's Chamber by accident is hysterical. Geist bedroom and quest bedroom are both really interesting though. Geist bedroom, you lose your plus 10 steps, but you get 2 dice. Occasionally, you'll even get way more dice with a tomb. Quest bedroom, permanent upgrades, and you keep your plus 10 steps with it. I think they're both solid. I don't know where I'd put them, to be honest with you. I think they're both pretty similar in power. I think quest bedroom maybe inches out just a little bit with steps and permanent abilities, but dice are extremely valuable. I really wish the Geist bedroom kept the plus 10 steps, but maybe that would just push it way over the line. I think quest bedroom gets to stay in A tier, and I think Geist is like top of B. Are they that different? I don't know that they're that different. They could probably hang with each other. I think they can hang with each other. I think it's a legitimate choice between the two of them. A gymnasium is B. Boring, but good. The fact that you can sometimes get running shoes is cool. The -2 step debuff is not that big of a deal. It's solid. It's solid. And again, you can get items in here, which is notable. Hallway, though, with the upgrades, definitely is an A tier room. I think that both +1 lock trunk and key are similar. I know that in the room tier list, In fact, let's just rearrange it a little bit to put the hallways next to each other. I think they're pretty similar, to be honest with you. Lock Trunk is better overall, especially late game. But honestly, having an extra key is not that bad. The hallway one becomes really interesting because it's basically just like an experimental trigger. Like you get a ton of experiments and that's pretty fun and cool. It's definitely janky. I think it's janky, but solid. I think you would rather have a lock trunk or a key. And I do think lock trunk is a lot better than +1 key, but like, it's still nice. So if it's a lot better, then maybe it's down here. I don't know. I don't know, y'all. It's tough. Her ladyship's chambers. Kind of a weird one. It's just, I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think about her ladyship's chamber, because you can get a telescope. You can get some bedroom synergies, +3 gems and +10 steps. It is cool. There is some interesting stuff there. It's really the telescope that makes me want to give it the bump over like C tier. But let's put it in high C anyway. I don't know. Could see it being a B tier room. I could see it being a B tier. I'm not going to do Hobble because I think outer rooms are hard to rank. You kind of rank outer rooms against each other, and we've done that already. Kitchen's interesting. Kitchen is really interesting. With maximum coins, it's like all the steps you'll ever need. I think it's B. I think kitchen's a B tier room, right? There's a lot of ways to care about steps. You don't always need it, but like it's there. And even in like earlier game, it can be helpful too, even when you don't buy everything out. Laboratory, S tier room. Way too many permanent things happen. Way too many powerful things happen. Also, laboratory is just really fun. And sometimes you get like a battery pack. So yeah, laboratory is a strong S tier room. Laundry room, I have a really hard time ranking. If you've utterly solved one of your resources, it can make the rest of your day that much better. Swapping allowance for stars is really fun. And it's nice, it's cool. It's maybe not as game-breaking as we might think it is. I'm gonna throw lavatory in D tier while I think about laundry room a little bit longer. I think laundry room is so tough. It's so tough. Okay, fictitious account coming in with, first of all, with a great take. S tier with high roller. That is a good point. That is a really good point that you can, that's a fun combo. So why don't we put it in A tier then? Put in there for the cool combos, and we'll put in there for other fun stuff too. I think that's fine. I think that's fine. Okay, library. You learn a lot. It's a drafting room. Sometimes there's an item. I think A. Maybe B, but like even after you've read everything, it's still pretty useful. I think A. I think library is an A tier room. I do. Especially when you give it its respect for like all of the sheer information you get. If you consider that a permanent upgrade, and you should consider that, knowledge is definitely a permanent upgrade. Library gives you quite a bit there too. Locker room is funny. I wish it didn't cost a gem. I wish it didn't cost a gem. I see why it does. Keys are good. It's probably just a B tier room. I don't think it's anything game breaking. I don't know that it's like so. In fact, you have to spend steps and like hunt around if you don't have conference room. It could even be C. Yeah, we're ignoring Hovel. I'm ignoring outer rooms. I'm not going to worry about them because I think they're all not. So anyway, locksmith. I honestly don't care about locksmith all that much personally. I think that there are better ways to get keys. It can be really clutch. I don't think it's a C tier room. The magnet does make this one funny. This is true. Yeah, for sure, funny chair. But I'm also like, there are some rooms where you just wouldn't exit. So I know I'm being wishy-washy and flip-floppy with the rules there, but I'm trying to consider it like, I guess pragmatically as well. I don't know. It's tough. It's hard ranking rooms, gang. As you guys know, it's hard ranking rooms. I don't know. Is locksmith a C tier room? Possibly. It's a dead end, but it also does give you a lot of cool things. Is it like top of C? I don't know. That's a really tough thing to think about. I'd love to hear what some players think about locksmith. I wish we were still on YouTube for this. because I think I'm too much of a hater. But I also think that we don't have enough C-tier rooms. I don't know that, like, Blueprints is a pretty well-designed game, and so it's actually fine that it's not like a normal curve. But I do think that B's and C's should be a little bit better there. We'll put a pin on it. Lost and Found, really funny room. A very funny room. Losing items is hysterical. If you put it in a really clutch pathway, you're gonna lose your inventory, so don't do that. You definitely want to put it on like the wings of the house and try to get it earlier. Honestly, like the best items you're gonna get from this are probably Stopwatch. I don't think Hall Pass is that exciting. Like Repellent only gets rid of one room for a week. You can get a vault key, you can get a telescope. I think Lost and Found is not as good as it seems, and it's got a pretty decent downside. We'll throw it in B, but I could see a world where it's C. Maid's Chamber, easy D. We're not touching that at all. The mail room is pretty fascinating. I actually think Freight Room is better than I give it credit for, because time doesn't really matter in this game. You can just call it a day twice, and then Freight Room is just as good as anything else. Freight Room is basically a mini attic. I think we can all agree that No Contact is the best mail room, and for what it's worth, it's probably A. It's definitely not S. It's definitely not an S tier room. But here, I'm gonna throw this in the back so we all know I'm not doing these outer rooms. I think Freight Room is not as bad as people might think. It is like an attic. Is it an A tier? I don't know. It's probably B tier. It's probably B tier. Master Bedroom is weak. That's an easy C tier room. It's just too annoying for what it is. If it had maybe some better stuff with it, I think that could be nice. But I just don't think it's ever really worth it. Mechanarium is fascinating because the raw power, if you can fully pull it off, is like 4 paths, an antechamber lever, a special key, and I don't know what the second door is after you've got like your upgrade disc, but you've got a bunch of resources. Mechanarium is really cool. It is a little janky, which makes me want to put it in B. But I think in this like full power consideration, it's not that hard to have a bunch of gear rooms. Like Workshop is a room you want it common anyway. You want it every day. Security is a great room. There's a lot of like good gear rooms that help a lot. I don't know that it's S tier, which is kind of sad because again, in theory, the power of this room is like one of the strongest in the entire game. I feel weird putting it. I feel weird doing that when it is inconsistent at the end of the day. Morning room, absolute S tier room. What more can I say? 2 gems in the moment, 2 gems tomorrow, green room synergies. This room is so good that it's not allowed in your starting deck. You know, like you have to do shenanigans to pull it off and get it like your Nook upgrade or buying from the kitchen. It's a great room. It's a really good room. Mount Holly Gift Shop is a weird room to rank. At its baseline, it's a nice hallway. It does fall off when you buy everything, but the things that you buy are pretty good. Like, even if you don't consider Curse Mode and Dare Mode, the addition of +2 trunks in the pool, very good. Plus, what is it? +10 steps in the dining room with that lunchbox, insanely good. I think it's A tier. And it's a rare shop that has multiple pathways, doesn't cost a gem. I think that's where it belongs. Music room, I think is a C. I think music room is a C tier room. It's just not that great. It's not a room that you're going to be really excited about. You need it for a sanctum key, but yeah, it is not. I can't really say that it's anything that exciting. I don't think you're ever axing this room, and the gems that you're paying for what you're getting is just not. It's just not it. Okay, the nooks are really fascinating. Breakfast Nook is extremely good, and I think that Reading Nook is too. I don't know that they're S tier good. They might be. They're definitely A tier good. Let's put them in A tier for now. And it's a fun debate between Breakfast Nook and Reading Nook. I think Breakfast Nook is better overall, but Reading Nook is not only better for newer players who really need to be reading in the library anyway, but it's cool that like in Bequest Bingo, Blueprints Bingo, getting those rare rooms from your library is really cool and nice. So I think it's a cool debate there. +2 keys. I don't know that it's D bad. I think it's actually reasonable. I think it's actually reasonable, but we'll throw it there for now. Nursery is funny because it does fall off. Steps become way less of an issue middle to late game. Your dining room is just so much better. It's pretty fascinating. I've always been an indoor nursery hater, and I've yet to meet someone who can convince me that it's better than I think it is. I really wish that indoor nursery was a hybrid room. I talk about that a lot. I really, really wish it were a hybrid room. That would be quite cool and interesting, but it is not, alas. Nurse's Station is fascinating as well because it used to be infinite stars or allowance with that lab experiment that makes you lose 10 steps as you look at your blueprint. It's still 10 though. You still get a consistent 10 uses, which is not nothing, which kind of makes me think that Nurse's Station is still the best one, even though like regular nursery, adding +3 steps to it, it's an interesting thing to think about. I think indoor nursery, I'm still gonna throw it in D because I think that these other rooms are better. Maybe C, I don't know, maybe we throw it in C tier. I don't think Nurse's Station and Nursery become that much better though. Let's throw them in B tier for what it's worth. Observatory is an S tier room. This is your star payoff, and stars, I think, are the best resource in the entire game. They're permanent. Not only do you get a ton of goodies from them, but if you hover in like the 80 star area with your rerolls, I honestly don't even bother with the spiral. I go full on like 80-ish range Observatory, and I have a ton of good stuff. Oh, Alexis, that's fun. Someone took indoor nursery, you have to have a backtracking plan, super line of secret garden. Got it, that makes sense. Because yeah, it's weird because like early game, you would really value getting all of these gems, maybe even like mid game as well. But then like you're giving up the nursery, which gives you so many steps, and you don't really have your step game together early game. So it's a weird one. Also, the fact that the wording of it says sprout makes me think it doesn't spread to the conference room. It makes me think it only stays in here, which makes sense, right? It's like flowers are growing in here. But that's a shame because I think it would be better if you could spread it to your conference room. If anyone knows the answer to that would be cool, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't because I think it's just the flowers that grow in there. Office, let's throw it in C tier. Look, you get an upgrade disc, that's cool. Spreading coins, whatever. It's just janky. It's janky and weird shaped. So yeah, that's how that is. Pantry, another C tier room. Another C tier room. Parlor room. These upgrades are quite cool. The upgrades are quite cool. I think that +3 is going to be the best, without a doubt. Funeral parlor, man, it's just really fun. It's tough because like gems are better earlier in the day. You're giving that up with your funeral parlor, but then turning it red is cool. I don't know. I think funeral parlor is better than I'm giving it credit for, and I'm someone who loves it, but I think that 3 gems is the best. I think that's just the way to go. So let's say parlor. Parlor is a door that continues and gives you 3 gems. I think that's S tier. I could see a world where it's A tier. Funeral parlor, I do think is worse though. Let's throw these in A. I actually think 2 wind-up keys is not bad. I think 2 wind-up keys has its uses. I don't think it's D. I don't think it's D. Because you do get, it has dare mode uses, which is really funny. And you could trade it in the trading post. Maybe not A, it's probably more like B. Like you're definitely giving up a lot to go for your 2 wind-up keys. But it's also fun to just be like, I don't even care about solving this anymore. We're just gonna get it. Okay, passageway, it's solid. It's a B. I think it's kind of boring, not super exciting. Conducts power. For what that's worth, it's interesting. Patio, at least it's not like normally in your pool. You basically are always gonna get a gem rebate. You can find an item in here. I think there's dig spots as well. I think it's pretty solid. Is patio an A tier room? Possibly. It's A or B. I have a hard time with this. We'll call it A for now. You can get extra gems out of it. You get dig spots. I mean, just dig spots alone are pretty good. So yeah, that's what I think. Planetarium is an S tier room in my opinion. And the reason for that is stars are incredible. And the fact that you also get all of the upgradable telescope items make it like almost a mini attic or like a walk-in closet. That's really cool. I think that You get a dice, an apple, a dig spot. You even get like a prism key or something. Some really good items in there too. So yeah, planetarium is very good. People hold up a second. Actually, I want to address this. I see a lot of comments. I think Archives is better than Passageway. Now, maybe not late game. Maybe not late game, which I guess, okay, look, that is what you're right. That is, you know what? You got me. That's a good point. Because we are talking late game. But I do think Archives is better than you think. And early game, it's a lot better, which I think we can all agree. Good call, you guys. Good call. Okay, Pump Room. I'm throwing it in C because when you're done with it, you're done with it. And it is a gear room. It's obviously very good in challenge runs, but if we're talking about full power, I don't think it's much. Room 46. This is a really, really funny room. Okay, and I don't mean win the game, credits room 46. Enter it again after you've beaten the game. But you're basically entering it again for the crown, right? If you don't want to put the crown of the blueprints in your coat check, it's like, how much do you value entering it again? I think it's B or C. It's not that accessible. Like, it's easier later game, for sure. I actually think it's C tier. I actually think it's C tier when you consider everything. When you consider like the full gamut, I think that it's a C tier room. So, yeah, I don't know. And I agree, that is a good point. It definitely does depend on your foundation location because you can make it way better the closer it is to that. And you could keep the crown in your coat check. I think there's better items to keep in there, which is interesting. So, yeah, for what it's worth, I think that's fair. We need to fill out more C tier rooms anyway. Rotunda, it's an A tier. I'm a hater because this room takes forever, but if you consider that it's a pretty good axe room, so I think it's fine to consider it with 0 gems. Not only is it a 4 pathway room, rotating rooms out of it, very strong. I am a bit of a hater. I just think it takes forever, and I wish it were a gear room. It really annoys me that a room that has a clicky button does not count as mechanical, but whatever. Okay, Rumpus Room, C tier. Early game, 1 gem for 8 coins is actually pretty good because a commissary can give you 2 gems and you'll keep 2 coins out of it. And obviously the Great Alzara is the Great Alzara. Can't put a price on that, except I kind of can. In this case, it's a C tier room. The Sauna. It can have an item. It's usually a gem. It's a bonus. You're not going to see it unless you got pool, so it's not going to be crowding your setup. I think it's B. I think it's a B tier room. Maybe C. Steps don't matter until they matter. It is a dead end. I don't know. Sauna could be C. Sauna could be C. I'll put a pin on that. Secret Garden, though, easy S tier. And we'll rearrange these later as well. We're going to rearrange these later. Secret Passage is a fascinating room. The sheer utility of this toolbox is bonkers. Picking green is usually the right answer to try and spike your free cloister or even like a free aquarium or courtyard. They're all pretty good. I think it's really good. I think it's an A tier room. I don't know if there's much more to say about it. It's just so useful because even at its baseline, right, you're going green and you're getting a free green room. And then like you could try to spike your foyer. You could try to get your red room synergies. They're very cool. Okay, security is another S tier room. Way too good for what it is, right? You have a terminal, which can turn into a laboratory thanks to Blackbridge Grotto. And unlike Office, which you could make that you could give Office a bit of grace for that as well. But unlike that, security is 1 gem less. It is an extra door, and it guarantees that you're not going to have to worry about security doors, which are pretty obnoxious and annoying for most days. So security, very good. Servants' quarters, I think it's C. I think it's just too janky. Garage tends to be better, which is funny. It's nice that it's a bedroom because you can get some step synergies with nursery and whatnot. But oftentimes I see it when I don't need it. Like there's a lot that needs to happen for servants' quarters to be good. You have to really care about keys, right? Which does happen most runs, admittedly. You have to have had a lot of bedrooms, which can happen. You need to like be down to give up a gem, down to give up a dead end. It's just, I don't know. It's a little weird one. I think that it can be better. I like spare bedroom a lot of the time. So it's cool for that. But let's be real, the final forms of the spare green rooms are pretty much where it's at. So even in that world, it's not as great. So anyway, Showroom, very good. Not every item in it is going to be, like not every item is costed appropriately. So, for example, I don't think chronograph is all that great. I think emerald bracelet is probably better than master key. It is very good. If we are considering full power, I think you have to give it S tier because you can buy out anything. And unlike keeping these items in your coat check, you can reasonably expect either a master key or an emerald bracelet. So yeah, very, very good stuff. I think that's an S tier room. Solarium. Honestly, it's like C, possibly D. It's sad because like, Conservatory is just so much better. Conservatory really kills any love you could have for Solarium. And Solarium doesn't even have pathways, man. Very sad. Okay, spare rooms are where things get really interesting. Spare veranda, that's an S tier room. You can even duplicate it with Chamber of Mirrors. You can have an extra spare veranda, which is hysterical. The fact that it stacks with regular veranda as well is bonkers. It continues, it doesn't cost gems. It's everything you could ask for. What a great room. Spare patio and spare terrace, I think they're just worse because they're not spare veranda. I don't know that you're ever caring about gems so much that you're making that choice. I'm gonna throw them in D tier. And I would love to hear if other people disagree, but I think that spare veranda, the opportunity cost of giving up your spare veranda is like really tough. It's really tough. Yeah. I mean, spare terrace gets props for being better than actual terrace, which is a pretty weak room. But yeah, I think the gap is that big. Honestly, it's very good. Spare foyer is interesting. I think it's not bad. I'll throw it in C tier. I don't think it's D. I think you could see a world where you pick it. Spare Great Hall, unfortunately, though, is D because you don't get an extra antechamber lever, and you still have to spend keys. I think it's funny. If it had the extra antechamber lever, maybe, but I just can't see any world where Spare Great Hall is cool. Spare Secret Passes is actually cool, though, especially if you care about going for a world record on the dead end run, which I think is great. I think that it's cool. I don't know where I would put Spare Secret Passage. Again, you're giving up a lot by not having your spare veranda. Is it that much better? I don't know. It's probably C at the end of the day. I don't know that you really need 2 secret passages most days, but it is usable. And it is very fun for that trophy if you want to go absolutely bonkers like Fictitious Account does. Her Ladyship Spare Room, pretty bad. I don't even think you get like the queen piece. You don't even get the queen piece. So let's throw it in D. Spare Servant's Quarters, though, actually is something. That's actually usable. We'll throw it in C as well. And I think Spare Master Bedroom, also kind of bad. I think that sounds right. I'd love to get some takes on these, but I think that like Spare Veranda is really what you want most playthroughs. And I think you could see a world where you go for Spare Servant's Quarters, Secret Passage, or Foyer, but like you don't really want to. And I think that these other ones are just outclassed. That's where I'm at. Storeroom is really interesting. Master Bedroom is higher when doing curse. That's true. That is very true. If you're, heaven forbid, you're continuing your curse mode, if you happen to get lucky enough for 2 of your upgrade discs to get there. Yeah. Exactly. Purely shafted because of opportunity cost, not because they're bad. Very good point. Storeroom is really funny. I think it's like ultimately still a C tier room, even with the upgrades. I think they're all C tier rooms. I don't think they're that different. Like, I like plus 10 coins the most, personally, but that really falls off with a massive allowance. I think they're all, that's an interesting choice. It's cool that coins do fall off because that's the one that I like the most. But yeah, I think they're all C tier. Study, man, people love to bully me for S tier study. I think it's A though. I think study's still good. I just think that if study were like the only way to reroll, it would definitely be an S tier room. It's nice that you get a gem. It's nice that you can get another item in there, but like you have stars, you know, I don't think that people really like, I think people overestimate how easy it is to get a ton of gems for your study. It's not nothing. It is not nothing. And yeah, you can have your emerald bracelet and go ham, and that is a really cool combo, but I think that's an A tier combo. I don't think that's an S tier combo. I think that I would rather just farm stars, call it a day, It's not every day you need to have a million uses for it. So I think studies A. We can put it at a high A. We can put it at a very high A, but I think it's A. Okay, terrace, bad. We'll put it C to be kind, but it might even be D. In fact, it might just be D, honestly. Do we have any terrace defenders in here? Terrace is so awkward. Like, you have to draft it going east or west. No, we'll throw it in C. I mean, there are some aquarium uses or something, but I just, ugh, weird. Kennel. Man, am I going to hate people if I... let's put it in A. Let's put it in A. I think the kennel is a little overrated because you need a lot of things for it to matter. You need the shovel. You need the dig spots. You need to care about keys. It needs to be a room that would have been unlocked or that would have been locked. But the fact that kennel is always free throughout the course of your game, it's like, you're not giving up much to have it or to use it. And you get to pet the dog. Yeah, how about that? Pool, it's either B or C. Honestly, it might even be C. Like, pool is obviously so good in day one runs and challenge runs. You want your pump room, like even locker room can be nice. Most days though, do you really care about any of those rooms? Especially like late game. If we're talking pure power, I think pool really falls off. I think pool really falls off. So I'm gonna throw it in C tier. Oh, that's true. It still does have 2 trunks. That's, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. We'll give it the B bump for that. That's true. It does at least have that. And you can get some other items in there too. You can get a key and things like that. Gosh, rank 3 security pool will always trigger me. Throne room. If you consider it being axed, which is a, you know, it's rare, but like it's 5 to 0, so that is it's a pretty good use of an axe in my opinion. Throne room is interesting. It's basically a T-shaped room that gives you easy room 46, which is nice for your crown. I think sometimes there's items in here. There's a king piece, though I think that's more of a downside. I wish the king piece were in the master bedroom than the throne room sometimes, but I don't know. It's hard. Am I crazy to put throne room in C tier? Is that crazy? I don't know. Maybe it's crazy. It's like, do you care about the crown that much? Is the crown that necessary to your game plan? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think you can easily have a great playthrough without relying on a crown. I think there's better things to put in your coat check. I don't know. I don't think throne room is all that. But it is an exciting room nonetheless. And you know that there'll be a better one that we'll throw up later. Tool shed. We're not going to worry about that because that's an outer room. Treasure trove is interesting. Treasure trove, in theory, has what, 160 coins. So it just helps you buy out anything you want. It just comes a little too late in the day. A little too late in like the game for it to be like really all that. I think it's still an A tier room. I don't know that it's S tier, even when you consider like the maximum power of 1,000,000 coins. I think it's an A tier room. I'd love to hear what you guys think though. Trophy room though, easy S tier when it's axed. In fact, probably one of the best rooms in the game when it's axed. Tunnel is a C tier. It's like an experiment farmer. There's better ways to farm experiments. Hallway synergies aren't that exciting. I guess you can spam drafting rooms for a classroom day. That's kind of funny. That's kind of how I feel. I think utility closets also C. Really important early game and challenge runs, but like turning on your dark room, making gym easier, turning on garage, those aren't really relevant. Those aren't really relevant. So that's where I'm at right now. I will fix the trophy room. Okay, look, I'll fix it right now. Okay, look. You guys heard me say that though, right? I was like, I'll fix this later. It's probably better than Starfish Aquarium. I don't know. That's a tough call for those top 3, but there you go. Okay, you got it. You got it. Vault is bad. C or D. I don't think there's much to say. You're never going to axe it. 40 coins is fine, but not all that exciting for what you're giving up. Vault keys are cool, but like, I'm not really a Vault fan. Not a big Vault fan. Veranda. I know that I was hyping up the spare veranda tremendously because it is a lot better than regular veranda. It's an A-tier room. It can be risky. It can be really risky. And there are times where you spend your 2 gems early in the day and you don't like accomplish much. But that's okay because Blueprints is a game where you can just call it a day and try again. You don't need to worry about every second, you know, every day being min-max optimized. And like the highs of the veranda day are very high and the lows aren't that big of a deal. That's how I feel. I think Vestibule is also an A-tier room. This is basically 4 totally unlocked doors, paying 2 steps to reroll 1 room out of 4 is very fair. I think Vestibule solid. I think it's really solid. Great in the late day. Walk-in closet is hard to rank. There are some bad walk-in closets, but it's usually pretty good. It's usually pretty good. I think you have to give it B compared to like attic and some other things, but it's a great B room. It's a great B room. And I'll even throw a wine cellar along with it. I think they're pretty similar. I think they're pretty similar. Weight room is an A-tier room. It could be S. If we're going full power, where you've got your lunchbox in the dining room, you've got all the money to buy out the kitchen, I actually think weight room might be S in this world because it's the freest antechamber lever of all time. I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at. Axe Vestibule is definitely better than Axe Passageway, yes, because they're guaranteed to be unlocked. That's the difference. That's the difference. Passageway, you can have locked doors from it. And I don't think the carrying power is that big of a deal. I'll keep Weight Room in A for now, because I think it's more important to have more stuff in A. But yeah. That's a fair point about throne room versus weight room, antechamber lever. That is a fair point. The throne room lever is more important. Yeah, that's a fair point. Maybe weight room's more like B tier. But I also think that weight room is underrated. And weight room having 4 pathways while being more common and acceptable in that way is interesting. So I don't know. We'll have a good debate after that, I think. West Wing Hall, that's a B tier room. It's fine. Workshop is S. The fact that it's so good, right? Workshop is so good. It's a gear room. You make contraptions. The only spot you can make very powerful items like that. And the fact that it comes with an item that makes contraptions, those are some of the best items, right? It's fantastic. And you can have multiples of them with a chamber. So that's very cool. Mixed Mechanarium even better. I love Workshop. I don't know that you can even rank Entrance Hall, to be honest. I don't know that that's a rankable room. It's good. We'll probably leave it off. Antechamber is funny though. You could maybe rank Antechamber because it does technically have doors that you can open. You have to work for it. I'll put it C, maybe. The fact that you have to work for the doors is kind of annoying. And hold on a second. We're almost done with this. Throne of the Blueprints. We'll throw it in... Let's call it B tier. Let's call it a B tier room. Which is kind of feels sacrilegious, but whatever. Okay. So this is where I'm at. We could maybe throw the entrance hall on as well. We could possibly throw it on. I don't know where you would do it. You don't really draft it. Yeah, no, you guys, I'm actually really curious though. I've seen a lot of people comment about Passageway versus Vestibule. Vestibule is better. It is better. I don't think having power is enough to justify that those doors can be locked, where Vestibule is basically 4 unlocked doors. Saving keys to me is way more valuable than Passageway, in my opinion. So that's my take. I'm surprised that I'm getting a lot of pushback on that, but I see a lot of people in the chat who are vouching for my opinion as well. Yeah, I don't know. But it's even a 1 out of 4 clay girth. It's not even like guaranteed, you know? It's a 25%, and it's like you have to get so unlucky for it to continuously screw you over. And I don't think that the carrying power is that big of a deal. And agree that sometimes power is bad, sometimes you get rid of them and you don't want them, that's also true. Okay, so if we were to rearrange the order of this stuff, Secret Garden is one of the best rooms in the game. So I'd probably put it like here, maybe. I don't think we need to pay too much attention to the ranking of stuff. Coat check is probably worse. I don't know. This is kind of like splitting hairs, all this stuff up here. Does anyone think Foundation belongs in A tier? Does anyone think Weight room is overvalued. I don't know. There's a lot of... Does anyone think I'm undervaluing throne room? Does anyone think... I don't know. I'm actually pretty happy with this. Like, most of these ranks ended up being around the same value. Pool versus lock trunk hallway. Are those both in B tier? Oh, I see what you mean. Because pool is going to have 2 lock trunks in it. The pool is just better because it is like 2 lock trunks as opposed to 1. So I'll take that. I'll take that. You guys have a good point. Okay, who else has strong opinions? I think weight room could be S. It's so free. It's just a four-way room late game. 4-way room late game, effortless antechamber lever. It never costs you gems. Is it S? Is it S? I'm gonna trigger people for sure, I think, if I put weight room at S. So maybe we have to keep it here. I think this is pretty solid overall, though. I think this is pretty solid. Does anyone have any last thoughts on, like, the order of stuff? Because I didn't really care that much about the order. No, I honestly, Alexis, I am also of that opinion that Kennel is more of a B than an A. In fact, it's funny because you look online and you see a lot of, like, Kennel stands, but it just needs a lot for it to happen. But also, I'm not really, like, the root cellar, jackhammer, go crazy with those synergies kind of guy anyway. So that's how I feel. That's how I feel. It's funny how invisible its effect is. I don't think Pool Hall should be in C, Conrad, because I don't think you're ever picking it over Break. Like, Break Room is so good. And, like, does anyone really care about hallway synergies? Does anyone really care about, I don't know, like a second Great Hall or something? You're giving up so much with that Break Room. I even think Speakeasy is kind of like a trap, but I love Speakeasy, so I'm just a small brain person. Hallway synergy is better than Speakeasy. That's fair. That's actually a fair point, Funny. You know what? I'll give you that. Where did I put Speakeasy? Did I put it in like B or something? You're right. That's like actually adding to your deck as opposed to, you know, Speakeasy just giving you the simple stuff. All right, Pool Hall, you got the buff. 2 secret passages, that's the best part. True. That's true. So I guess fictitious accounts, his world record for most dead ends, that was necessary as well. Anyone else have burning thoughts here? Like, I think I'm undervaluing Kitchen. I think Kitchen should go up in this world of late game stuff. It's better than Garage for sure. Any other thoughts? You think Veranda should be higher? Should Veranda be higher? No, because I just think Spare Veranda's like so much better than Veranda. I think it's not fair to have it in the same tier. Ballroom could be D. Look, I have come around the most on Ballroom. I have come around the most. Oh, I didn't even put an aquarium. I killed the goldfish aquarium. I was like, ain't nobody picking that. I killed it. I flushed it down the toilet. Flushed it down the lavatory. I am honestly considering making a brand new short for Ballroom and offering an official apology to everybody in the world. Because I agree. Ballroom has only disappointed me the more and more that I've played with it. I think this is pretty good. The thing is, Spare Veranda is like spammable too. You can have multiples of them. Like the one veranda on its own. No, I'm going back. I'm going back to A. I'll put it high A. I'll put it high A, but no, I don't think so. I don't think so. What about the fire walkway? That's funny. Nope, Spare Veranda is not restricted. You can draft it anywhere. You can spam it with multiple Chamber of Mirrors, which actually, I think Chamber of Mirrors, I think it belongs in low A. Like the very bottom of A. The reward is just so good. I don't know, but it is janky. I don't know. It's like top of B, bottom. I have a really hard point there. I have a really tough thing with that. So I think we're good. I think we're good. Although I do think chamber could get a buff. Okay, that is our power tier list of all the rooms in the game, assuming, you know, late game, considering as much as we can. As you can tell, it is very difficult to rank rooms and blueprints because there's a lot of times I want to give nods to the early game or the mid game or whatever. People have such different play styles, and it's really cool that you can do that.